Welcome back. 5:47 on Daybreak, and this morning we are remembering a sigh of relief for the Kelly clan, plus when a Buffalo pro sports team won a championship in just its first year of play, and making way for the big orange box. Dave McKinley has our weekly walk back in time when those stories and more were all news to you.
10 years ago this week, Jim Kelly delivered the news his fans had hoped to hear to his daughter via social media.
I want to tell you that Daddy is free of cancer. Josh Constantino said that it was nothing short of a miracle.
We lost Joan Rivers, though, at the age of 81, and believe it or not, it's now been 10 years since CVS sold tobacco products at its drugstores, announcing it would kick that habit this week in 2014. 20 years ago this week, when Hurricane Francis struck Florida with a fury causing $10 billion in damage, back in sunny Buffalo, Drew Cerza, the Wing King, was still doing his thing at what was just the third National Chicken Wing Festival. While, after being vacant for 6 years on a prime parcel at Erie Basin Marina, the former Crawdaddy's restaurant was being converted into Shanghai Reds, which would later become Templeton Landing. Oh, and there was something new to get used to when it came to your yearly car inspections.
It's plugged into a computer which is linked to Albany through a phone line. Then Albany goes through all the systems checks on your car via the computer, and it either passes or fails.
Yes, it's been 20 years now since that means to measure if your vehicle meets emission standards, which we've grown accustomed to today, was first being rolled out. Back at a time when American Brass employed 660 workers at its plant in Black Rock, but when on the east side all jobs were being lost at the Wonder Bread plant, which was closing after 80 years of operation. 2 decades later, the building still stands today, although more now a monument to rot and decay. 30 years ago this week, fans celebrated a championship for Buffalo's newest professional sports team, which participated in roller hockey. This week's News to You pop quiz: what was the name of that team, which in just its first season of play won the Roller Hockey International Championship this week in 1994? Remember, this was back when ambulance attendants, as they were once called, still dressed in all white, when the phone banks were readied and the Channel 2 studios prepared to host the annual MDA Telethon held over Labor Day weekends to benefit Jerry's Kids. It was also when Michael Bolton, between concerts like this one at Darien Lake, traveled with a group of softball players and staged charity games like this one at Pilot Field.
We wanted to see him, and it was...
Yes, ma'am. Go on.
When he stands up and turns around with their tight suit on, then you'll know why we're here.
Meanwhile, another lady killer of that era was spotted in Lewiston. That's Fabio at Cappuccino's restaurant. This was also back when do-it-yourselfers, still flocking to Chase Pitkin and Builders Square, suddenly had a new option because, would you believe, it has now been 30 years since the first Home Depot opened in Western New York this week in 1994, back in the days when this was all news to you.
And here's the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz. Stampede. That was the name of Buffalo's professional roller hockey team, which won the Roller Hockey International Championship in just their first season of play. The Stampede played their games at Memorial Auditorium, but unfortunately they only lasted one more season before folding. Did you kind of remember that a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Buffalo Braves. I like that old jersey, though, for old teams that don't exist anymore.
I definitely remember Chase Pitkin.
Yeah.
You know, it
Oh
was
my gosh.
the original, home improvement stores here in Western New York, it feels like.
Yeah.
Outside of those small mom and pop shops.
Yeah,
But
so fun to look back. So
love
thanks,
those.
Dave, for that. Very nice. So what's going on weather-wise, Dan?
Well, it's all